their final head-to-head debate before polling day next Thursday. It was a heated confrontation during which they faced questions from a live audience behind me.
The United Kingdom is facing a political tempest as its new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, announces an aggressive deportation policy that has ignited a firestorm of debate and controversy. This unprecedented move, framed as a deportation spree by critics and supporters alike, marks a radical shift in the nation's approach to immigration and asylum. Starmer, who has long been known for his pragmatic and centrist stances, is navigating treacherous political waters as he attempts to balance national security concerns with humanitarian obligations. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. Keir Starmer's rise to the position of Prime Minister was fueled by a promise of stability and
what is becoming clear for, I think, all to see is the mood of the nation, of the country, what is expected of us, and the mandate that we
reform after years of political turmoil and Brexit-induced divisions. Many saw him as a unifying figure capable of bridging the gap between progressive and conservative elements within the Labour Party. However, his announcement of a sweeping deportation initiative has caught many off guard, revealing a more hardline stance on immigration than previously anticipated.
to change the country and to deliver. And it's a mandate to do politics differently. And that change started yesterday as well. I have, as you'll have seen, appointed a cabinet.
The announcement, made during a high-profile speech at 10 Downing Street, detailed an ambitious plan to deport individuals who are in the UK illegally or have committed crimes. Starmer emphasized that this policy aims to restore public confidence in the immigration system, ensure national security, and uphold the rule of law.
Which was a moment in history. We followed that with the first cabinet meeting of the Labour government of 2024. At that cabinet meeting, I had the opportunity.
He stressed that the policy targets those who have broken the law or violated immigration regulations, not legitimate refugees or asylum seekers who comply with the legal process. The decision to embark on this deportation spree has been met with fierce backlash from human rights organizations, opposition parties, and even some members of Starmer's own Labour Party.
And the trust that the country has put in them. And yesterday I met Laurie Magnus, the independent advisor on standards, to discuss how we deliver in government.
Critics argue that this policy will disproportionately affect vulnerable populations, including refugees and asylum seekers who may not have had fair access to the legal system. They also warn that it could lead to significant human rights violations, with individuals being deported to countries where they face persecution or danger.
And that we will have mission delivery boards to drive through the change that we need, and that I will be chairing those boards to make sure that it's clear to everyone that they are my priority in government.
Amnesty International and other human rights groups have voiced strong opposition, arguing that the policy undermines the UK's long-standing commitment to human rights and international law. They point out that the deportation of individuals without thorough assessments of their cases could result in irreversible harm. These organizations are calling for a more compassionate and comprehensive approach to immigration reform.
This afternoon, I will continue to make a number of front bench appointments. We clearly on Thursday got a mandate.
One that prioritizes the protection of human rights and due process. On the other side of the debate, supporters of the deportation policy argue that it is a necessary measure to maintain the integrity of the UK's immigration system. They contend that illegal immigration and criminal activity undermine public trust and pose risks to national security. Proponents believe that a firm stance on deportations will deter illegal immigration.
The first time in 20-plus years, we have a majority in England, in Scotland, and in Wales, and that is a clear mandate.
And send a clear message that the UK will not tolerate lawlessness. The debate over this policy has also exposed deeper divisions within British society. Immigration has been a contentious issue in the UK for decades, with public opinion often divided along ideological lines. For some, immigration represents a threat to national identity and security, while for others, it is a source of cultural enrichment and economic vitality.
And therefore, I shall set off tomorrow to be in all four nations. I shall go first to Scotland. I shall then go to Northern Ireland.
Starmer's deportation policy has brought these tensions to the forefront, forcing the nation to confront its values and priorities. One of the key challenges facing Starmer's administration is the practical implementation of this ambitious deportation plan. The logistics of identifying, detaining, and deporting large numbers of individuals are complex and resource-intensive.
Not just to discuss the issues and challenges of the day, of course we will do that, but also to establish a way of working across.
The Home Office, already stretched thin by existing immigration and security responsibilities, will need significant additional resources and support to carry out this policy effectively. Moreover, the legal challenges associated with deportations, including appeals and human rights considerations,
of all 4 nations. On Thursday, we also got a mandate on economic growth, the #1 mission of the Labour government.
Will likely slow down the process and lead to further complications. Starmer has acknowledged these challenges but remains resolute in his commitment to the policy. He has called for increased funding and resources for the Home Office, as well as reforms to streamline the deportation process and reduce bureaucratic hurdles. The Prime Minister has also emphasized the importance of working with international partners to ensure that
so that people are better off everywhere, wherever they live. The principle I operate to is those with skin in the game know what's best for their communities. And that does require us.
Deported individuals are returned to their home countries safely and in accordance with international law. Despite the controversy, Starmer's announcement has garnered significant attention and sparked a national conversation about the future of immigration policy in the UK. The media has been quick to dissect and analyze the implications of this policy,
to discuss with them their part in delivering the growth that we need across the United Kingdom. That will be on Tuesday. That will include non-Labour metro mayors,
with opinion pieces, editorials, and news segments dedicated to the topic. The public discourse has been heated, with passionate arguments from both supporters and critics of the deportation initiative. For many Britons, the issue of immigration is deeply personal and tied to their own experiences and identities. The debate over Starmer's deportation policy has prompted individuals to reflect on their own views about national identity.
And I'm not a tribal politician. And the principle I operate to, whether it's mayors or other elected representatives, is that where regional leaders,
security and human rights. Some see the policy as a necessary step to protect the nation and uphold the rule of law, while others view it as a betrayal of the UK's humanitarian values and international obligations. The political ramifications of Starmer's deportation policy are also significant. Within the Labour Party, there is a risk of deepening divisions between moderates and progressives. Some members of the party are concerned that this hardline approach to immigration will alienate key voter bases.
I've already had a number of international calls, as you will know, and as you would have expected, to establish the relations across with other countries.
Particularly young and minority voters who are more likely to support compassionate and inclusive policies. On the other hand, there are those within the party who believe that a tougher stance on immigration is necessary to win back support from working-class voters who have felt neglected and disenfranchised in recent years. The opposition parties have seized upon this issue as an opportunity.
It is, of course, an important summit on NATO. It is, for me, to be absolutely clear that the first duty of my government is security and defence.
To challenge Starmer's leadership and propose alternative visions for immigration policy. The Conservative Party, traditionally seen as tough on immigration, has criticized Starmer for what they perceive as an attempt to outflank them on the right. Meanwhile, the Liberal Democrats and Green Party have condemned the policy as inhumane and called for more progressive and compassionate approaches to immigration reform.
Ukraine. So this will be a politics and a government that is about delivery, is about service. Self-interest is yesterday's politics.
As the UK grapples with this contentious issue, the international community is also watching closely. The country has long been a global leader in advocating for human rights and providing asylum to those in need.
The tough decisions weren't taken on planning. We don't have the prisons we need. and I can't build a prison in 24 hours. But we can get to grips with the planning aspect of that straight away. We can push on half the money.
Starmer's deportation policy has raised questions about the UK's commitment to these principles and its role on the international stage. Allies and partners are keen to see how this policy will be implemented and its potential impact on the UK's reputation and relationships.
I'm restless for change, and I think and hope that what you've already seen demonstrates that, not least the appointment yesterday of Patrick Vallance.
In response to the criticism, Starmer has sought to reassure the public and the international community that his government remains committed to upholding human rights and international law.
I recognised this when I was Director of Public Prosecutions, and it is actually important to them to use the title because it reinforces in them what they are doing by way of public service, and I respect that and understand that.
He has emphasized that the deportation policy will be implemented with strict adherence to legal and ethical standards, and that individuals will not be deported to countries where they face serious harm. The Prime Minister has also highlighted the importance of providing support and protection to genuine refugees and asylum seekers.
And that means we can hit the ground running. But look, it is not an overnight exercise changing the country. Thank you, Chris. I'll go to Beth, please.
Ensuring that the UK continues to be a safe haven for those fleeing persecution and conflict. The announcement of the deportation spree has also prompted a broader discussion about the UK's immigration system and the need for comprehensive reform. Many experts and advocates argue that the current system is broken, with lengthy delays.
It's a mindset of service, of country first, party second. That's not a slogan. That is the test for all of our decisions. So when submissions come to me from the Cabinet, when I've had
bureaucratic inefficiencies and inadequate support for immigrants and asylum seekers. They call for a holistic approach to immigration reform that addresses these issues.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister. Firstly, have you got used to hearing yourself get called that yet? And secondly, if I may, just pick up on Chris.
And creates a more fair, efficient, and humane system. There are also calls for greater investment in integration and support services for immigrants and refugees.
We argued for change. We've got that mandate. We've got it in for all 4 nations, and that is really important for us as well. I was pleased to see that exit poll.
Proponents argue that helping new arrivals to integrate and contribute to society is crucial for social cohesion and economic prosperity. They point to successful examples of integration programs in other countries and urge the UK to adopt similar approaches.
And that's good, but there are plenty of hidden places I'm yet to discover. And no, we're not unpacked quite yet, but we will be soon, and we'll be moving in soon. But
amidst the heated debate and political maneuvering, the real-life impact of the deportation policy on individuals and communities cannot be overlooked. For those facing deportation, the announcement has brought fear and uncertainty. Many have built lives, formed families.
It is everybody who uses it and works in it knows that it is broken, and we're not going to operate under the pretense or language that doesn't express the problem as it is.
And contributed to their communities in the UK. And the prospect of being forcibly removed is a devastating blow. Advocacy groups are mobilizing to provide legal assistance and support to those affected, and community organizations are rallying to offer solidarity and protection.
Where other parts of the system are broken, we're going to have to approach that with a raw honesty as well, and we will take the tough decisions, but that is not
The deportation policy also raises important questions about the balance between security and compassion in immigration policy. How can the UK ensure its borders are secure while upholding its humanitarian commitments?
People will have voted Labour for the first time, perhaps never having voted Labour before, and I recognise that, and that they put their trust and confidence in us, and we have to repay.
What are the ethical implications of deporting individuals to potentially dangerous situations? These are complex and challenging questions that require thoughtful and nuanced answers. As the UK navigates this contentious issue
across the areas so that we can govern for the whole of the country and take the country forward and turn our back on tribal politics and simply picking issues we want to fight just for the party politics.
It is clear that the debate over immigration and deportation is far from over. The country is at a crossroads, facing difficult decisions about its values, identity, and future. Keir Starmer's deportation policy has sparked a national conversation that will likely shape the political landscape for years to come. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, do you support Prime Minister Keir Starmer's deportation policy? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.